Thank you, Mags, for that introduction. My fellow speakers, Madam Bay Norhata Alonto, Attorney Randolph Parcasio, Attorney Benedicto Bacani, Executive Director of the Institute for Autonomy and Governance of Attica. I lost my speech because the screen, okay, the video took the entire screen. Okay, my good friend, Amina Rasul Bernardo, lead convener of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, Ms. Patricia Sarenas, chairperson of the Mindanao Coalition of Development NGOs, Professor Dr. Stefan Jost, country representative of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Philippines, Mr. Charlito Caloy Manlupig, President of Balay Mindanao Foundation and Conference Chair of Kusog Mindanao 2021. Ms. Mags Maglana, Mindanao Peace Advocate and Conference Host. Other organizations present, guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow Mindanaonons, a pleasant good morning to all of you. Maayong buntag sa tanan. First and foremost, daghang salamat sa Kusog Mindanao for your invitation to be one of the guest speakers for today's virtual conference. Your conference seeks to strengthen the voice of Mindanao in national policies and programs. As a Mindanaonon, I am grateful for this initiative, which also seeks to generate ideas for the holistic development of Mindanao. So let us now go to our topic. Federalism and equitable share of Mindanao in the national wealth and policies that affect them. Federalism. About federalism, it is still my cherished hope, and I hope it is yours too, that the shift to the federal system of government will be accomplished, and this will be the ultimate legacy of my party, PDP-Laban, and of course, Tatay Llana Pimentel and all the others who have advocated for this to the Filipino people. As someone who has run the PDP-Laban for decades, I will continue to bring the message of federalism to the Filipino people, even though I could feel and I acknowledge the fact that we are currently busy and distracted by the COVID-19 pandemic. But in all honesty, this topic of federalism is the one which attracted me to participate in your conference. As a party leader, I believe that one of the primary missions of our political party is to fix the problems of our nation. We believe in structural analysis in determining what ails our nation. We do not believe that mere changes in the personalities of our leaders can fix our nation's problems. If the rules and structures do not change, our leaders will behave the same way, and it will be business as usual to the detriment and great disappointment of our countrymen. We believe that we need to change structures and systems to address the root causes of our nation's problems. Ang importante, we should not be afraid about changing structures and systems. Good governance is, after all, an experiment conducted in the laboratory called life. Economic progress and development under our current unitary system of government has been lopsided in favor of Metro Manila, the center of power, and the areas closest to it. We can see this with our own very eyes. Hence, there should be no need to debate on this factual statement. This inequality has even led some disgruntled people to coin the term Imperial Manila. Just for your information, figures presented during the preliminary budget hearings show that in the 2022 budget, Luzon gets 64.22% of the budget, because that is Luzon including Metro Manila. Visayas 15.24% and Mindanao 20.54%. Mindanao's 20.54% share is lower than its 2021 share in the budget of 24.37%. This is not the final picture, however, because large sums of money are lodged in the central office of departments. And where these sums ultimately go can change the percentages I have just mentioned. So the percentage for Mindanao can be in reality higher or it could be lower. The imperialism of the one and only center of power under the present unitary system of government has resulted in a dichotomy where there are in the same country, the Philippines, places of wealth, comfort, and modernity coexisting with places of extreme poverty. To fix the intergenerational problems of poverty, inequality, and the societal instability resulting from these two, the PDP-Laban has proposed since its foundation in 1982 the adoption of the federal system of government for the Philippines. This is the same priority agenda of the party in this coming election. For the long-term benefit of our country, changes in our system of government will have to be made, and PDP-Laban will try to influence the coming elections narrative by including federalism among the campaign topics. Although I must admit that surveys show that federalism is not among the top-of-mind concerns of the voters right now. We see federalism as the practical solution to the age-old problems of poverty, inequality, and instability that continue to hinder the development of our nation. The diversity of Philippine society truly provides a challenge which federalism can address. As a country of more than 7,000 islands, almost 100 dialects, and more than 100 different ethnic and tribal affiliations, federalism provides a system wherein national unity is maintained while at the same time recognizing and protecting the diversity of Philippine society. With federalism, we aim to achieve the following objectives. Number one, we can involve the regions in national decision-making. Number two, we can accelerate the economic developments of the regions. Number three, we will achieve peace in Mindanao. And number four, we allow the preservation of the culture and language of the various ethno-linguistic groups of the country. Admittedly, federalism is a complex proposal. Adopting all of these changes need time and definitely will take time. Also, our definition, our party's definition of federalism requires that the relationship between the different levels of government, national, central, vis-a-vis regional, local, is defined in and protected by the Constitution. While we were on our struggle for the adoption of federalism, the Supreme Court gave us a welcome ruling in the case of Mandanas versus Executive Secretary, which fully implemented Section 6, Article 10 of the 1987 Constitution. Because of this ruling, the executive branch has issued Executive Order Number 138, directing full devolution of certain functions of the executive branch to local governments and the creation of a committee on devolution. To those who believe in federalism and its first step, decentralization, these are welcome developments. Funding must be decentralized and functions must be devolved in favor of the local government units. This is consistent with the principle of subsidiarity that suggests that social and political issues should be dealt with at the most immediate or local level that is consistent with their resolution. Kung sino ang nakadanas ng problema, doon ninyong subukan solusyonan ang problema. Ensuring the equitable share of LGUs in the national financial resources, improving their capacity to deliver basic services to their constituents, and enhancing their transparency and accountability in managing public resources are keys to improving local autonomy and decentralization. Well, the Mandanas case happened in 2018. This has been celebrated And hopefully, this will give us a glimpse or a taste of how a federal system of government will look like and feel like nationwide. So in this case, the Supreme Court held that all collections of national taxes, except those accruing to special purpose funds and special allotments for the utilization and development of the national wealth, should be included in the computation of the base of the just share of LGUs. So the just share of the LGUs now include the customs duties, and this amount is called national tax allotment. There is more to this ruling than meets the eye. We look at this not just as a transfer of resources, but an opportunity to strengthen decentralization and improve the delivery of social services in the Philippines. Certainly, it will promote fiscal decentralization. So the interpretation of the just share in the national taxes has been clarified or corrected. This is now given the Constitution and the law, 40% of all national taxes collected by the BIR, Bureau of Customs, and other agencies. Hence, more funds will be available at the local levels. The national NTA, what is this? The National Tax Allotment, NTA, shares of LGUs in fiscal year 2022 shall be 959 billion pesos based on the certification submitted. And based on certification submitted on actual collections for year 2019. This is 263.5 billion pesos higher than the shares of LGUs in fiscal year 2021. Consequently, it will encourage more local government accountability. The substantial increase in the shares of the LGUs from the national taxes will empower the LGUs in providing basic services and facilities to their constituents and aid them in the effective discharge of other duties and functions devolved to them under the local government code. An important provision to study is Section 17 of the Local Government Code. So, the EO 138 was issued directing the full devolution of certain functions of the executive branch to the LGUs. Under the said EO and in accordance with Section 17G of the Code, the basic services and facilities fully devolved shall be funded from the share of the LGUs in the proceeds of the national taxes and other local revenues. Local chief executives shall also ensure that any fund or resource available for the use of their respective LGUs shall be first allocated for the provision of basic services or facilities devolved before applying the same for other purposes. But we have to, of course, comply with relevant laws, budgeting and auditing rules and regulations. EO 138 also established the Committee on Devolution. To carry out the plan, the national government agencies and LGUs shall prepare respective devolution transition plans, which conform to the guidelines to be issued. The NGA DTP, the DTP is the Devolution Transition Plan. The NGA DTP shall identify and clarify the functions and services devolved to the LGUs by level of LGU based on the RA 7160 and other relevant laws, and the strategy for phasing and devolution of devolution to the LGUs. They shall include the definition of the standards for delivery of devolved services, strategy for the capacity development of the LGUs, framework for monitoring the performance and assessment of LGUs, and an organizational effectiveness proposal to strengthen the department in assuming steering functions as part of the devolution efforts. The EO also directed the ComDev to propose a growth equity fund to Congress to address issues on marginalization, unequal development, high poverty incidence, and disparities in the net fiscal capacities of LGUs. But we have to look at the source of this fund. because funds already decentralized should not be re-centralized again. Relative to this, I remember a statement I always emphasize in my talks on federalism. If we are to universally guarantee basic services for each and every citizen, we should decentralize and democratize the funding and the discretion over the funds. So EO 138, because of that Supreme Court decision, is indeed a step forward toward our goal of federalizing the Philippines. For your information, federalism is about bayanihan or solidarity so that no one is left behind. Each region or state will be given the funds, discretion, and the responsibility to provide each citizen of the Republic of the Philippines the guaranteed minimum basic services. Under the PDP-Laban model of federal government, the equitable share of each citizen in Mindanao in the national wealth is thereby ensured. So I heard the bell already, so that means how many more minutes, ma'am?
2 minutes, Senator.
2 minutes. Okay, let me wrap up na lang. Just for your information, on the proposed 2022 national budget, which we will now, the Senate will now tackle in November, our national government seeks to approve 3.195 trillion pesos as direct share of the regions for development in both urban and rural communities. This is equivalent to 63.6% of the 2022 budget. Out of this, the proposed regionalized budget for Mindanao is 656.5 billion pesos. However, I've noticed that this is lower compared to the allocated budget for Mindanao region in the 2021 national budget. So there are, I will propose in the formation of the Mindanao agenda, I will propose some policies which you may want to consider and adopt, and I will just submit to the conference a written copy of my remarks, Madam Chair, Madam MC. So thank you very much for the time that you've given me. My final message is that while we are ramping up again the campaign for federalism, we should take advantage of what our campaign for decentralization has achieved so far. Let's make use of the Mandanas ruling to further improve fiscal decentralization and make federalism agenda more understandable and acceptable to our people. So LGUs should not waste the chance given by EO 138 to improve basic services and facilities. So now is the time for our local leaders na magpakitang gilas, magpasikat. Okay, so and to sustain our progress, our leaders at the national and local levels must ensure close coordination and communication so that the development goals of each level are well aligned, particularly during this unprecedented crisis. So, and then events such as this Kusog Mindanao conference, where public, private leaders and constituents can effectively discuss how to strengthen consensus on important national and local developmental issues, must be encouraged. So when you invite us, we attend, because that is our contribution. So it is therefore my hope that the people of Mindanao will benefit from what we are doing in this 5-day conference as we pursue a Mindanao agenda which will lead to equitable and sustainable socio-economic development in our region. So I will submit na a written copy because 1/3 of my speech I have not been able to say because of lack of time. So I wish all the participants the best. Dagang salamat kaninyong tanan.